How are we doing? Good morning, good afternoon. So staring my coffee. Okay. Oh, come on. Sorry about that. That's what happens when I just wake up and then 5 to 10 minutes later. Um. Oh boy. Okay. As long as I start with the puzzle. Yeah. So, yeah. That's actually that's actually I did not think it was going to be this. Because you can't really take this pawn. So I think you just play pawn push, right? Uh, yeah, even if you play this, let me see. Even if you play this, yeah, if you go back, yeah, if you come forward, takes, and then your opponent promote. Ah, but then you have check and then okay, okay, that may be. I think we just promote, right? There's also this move just allows this. I don't think that. I think we just promote. Ah, done. So is it this? I'm actually very confused. This is not so straightforward. I'm sure it's not this. I don't think it's this. I'm confused. Really? Wow. I see the thing about this phone. I don't get. Oh wait. Oh wait. How did I see the board backwards? How did I see the board backwards? I kept thinking he's also going this way. I don't know why I was thinking that he's going. That was the dumbest. Like what? Okay, this is not a good sign. So he's promoting this way. Yeah, promote. So pawn push, takes, king comes forward. I think our opponent can promote in time. So it's possible that the move is to go this way. I just it's because of how I saw the board. It's because of how I saw the board. I was thinking for some reason, and I don't know why it didn't occur to me that white and black are promoting on the same square. Like with my calculation. This is a bad sign. Thank God today's a steady stream and yeah, we are live. And you missed the funniest thing that ever happened. I was calculating this position. And whilst I was calculating this position, as both people are promoting this way. Flavio! It's amazing how you just came to mind. Not just came to mind, sorry. Yesterday I was scrolling through like all my follow channels. And I was trying to, what's the word? I was trying to like take out channels that I haven't seen in a while, and I saw you. I was like, oh, how is Flavio doing? I'm good, thanks, Matrell. I don't know. Like I calculated, I might even make a shot of it. I calculated the whole position, and I was calculating pawn push. So I calculated that. Oh wait, if I push this pawn, I have to use the arrows to explain this. If I push this pawn, my opponent is going to play pawn push check, and if I take the pawn, he can just take this guy. Right, you can just take the new queen. So I was like, okay, so if he does that, I can't follow through. So if he plays pawn push, I have to go king back. But I'm like, he can still play pawn push and check, and if I take, he still wins the queen. This was how I calculated like this for like 5 minutes, and it never occurred to me that wait, aren't the pawns moving in the same direction? That's like the craziest thing. So it's finally when I noticed that wait, this guy is promoting this way and we have to prevent him from promoting, and I immediately saw this. That was so like, I don't even know. I actually don't know what happened. Oh nice. Oh nice. So nice. Yeah, by the way, Flavio, the photographer I was talking about was Deochu. I don't even remember her channel. Deochu. You one time on stream you raided her channel. Yeah, her. When I was also scrolling through her channel, I realized that she hasn't streamed in almost a year now. Oh, it's made it out of me yesterday. Berganti, it happens. Berganti, it happens. I like, for the life of me, I don't understand why I was calculating both phones moving in the same direction. That was just the dumbest thing I've ever done. Dumbest thing I've ever done. I've made bad calculations, but this takes the cake. So I was thinking that, like, literally speaking, I was thinking if I bring my rook here, oh, he's just going to take. I was like, what? Oh boy. Hmm. Okay. This time I know white is going this way, black is going this way. Yeah, I'm thinking about this immediately. Oh wait, we can just play pawn takes. That's called a mind. I'm sure. Like, imagine I was seeing the board like this when I was playing in the tournament. That'd be the craziest calculation. After my opponent develops his net, I'll be like, oh no, he can promote his pawn. Like, imagine that, right? Like, literally imagine. I'm trying to load this page, it's taking too long. Literally imagine after this your opponent plays here, you're like, oh no, my opponent's going to make a queen. Oh my goodness. All you're going to do is resign, aren't you? I think we have a mate threat. If we take here a threatening checkmate, our opponent can also try and piss us off, but we are always going to have a move, right? But if he checks, we come in here, he checks, let's even say, I don't even know how we do, but he doesn't have a way of doing. Like, you don't get chess at all? Oh, then you're in the right stream for today. Today is a learning stream. We always start the streams with puzzles, warm ourselves up, and it's a good thing we did. Oh, nice. Send this to your local chess 22 this year as more chess streamers and nice. It's good to know. I'm always happy to know that you're still active, because I know photography takes a lot of your time. I always say time. Flav, your honest opinion, what do you think about my thumbnails? Because personally, I don't like them. It takes me a while to actually sit down to try and learn Photoshop. So sometimes I learn one thing, and it takes me a while to like keep my. You know, sometimes you watch a YouTube video and a tutorial video, and it's just for one specific thing for one thumbnail. I'm trying to learn it so that I know it throughout. You know, I think it's just this. But personally, what do you think about the thumbnail with your editing and your photography? Still. Okay, I just think it's this. I don't know what else I'm missing. But if my opponent comes here, we can. It could, yeah. I mean, it just couldn't have been that obvious. It just, in case you wonder what I was thinking this. No, it's not. I have to solve it first. This is wow. Wait, could it be rather I should have to do it in the reverse? Because I realized that if I do this, for example, my opponent can run here, and after this, he can. I think I'm supposed to do it in the reverse. Oh, this is a funny checkmate. What? This pawn. That is so funny. No, if you ever get checkmated like this, you may not play chess for the next 5 days. You may just not play chess. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. Nah. Okay, we have to get at least one right. Come on, we have to get at least one right. So we can take this. If we play bishop take, chess can be embarrassing. Look, till date, I wonder why I like chess. Till date, I wonder why I like chess. You know, as I was playing the tournament, I've said this multiple times before, but like as I was playing in the tournament, I was like, so you mean I'm going to sit here for 3 hours, make one mistake and then lose? That was what my mind was. That's what my mind was going through. I was like, I'm going to sit here for 3 hours just to make one mistake, and that's what cost me the whole game. I kind of lost some motivation there. I kind of literally lost some motivation there. I was like, the game I played against Akwanda, if you checked out the video yesterday, the game I played against Akwanda, when he played knight d5, I was like, really? Like, I sat all this while thinking all this time just to make this mistake. Thankfully, it wasn't actually a mistake. 3 hours you are never get exactly, and all you have are bloodshot eyes. That's kind of half, but the difference is at least fighting games, if I remember the timers, it's like 90 seconds or 120 seconds per round. You can literally play millions of games, right? But this is just one game and you expend so much energy. I mean, where fighting games I feel like is crazy is the combos. Like one day I was like, oh, I'm going to sit down and actually learn a fighting game combo. What the hell is a half circle, quarter circle? Oh boy. Anyways. There was this Dragon Ball Z fan-made game I tried learning. The controls were So here queen takes threatening checkmate. What do we do? Come, let me teach you. No thanks. I have enough torture with this. The only thing, I mean, once you get the combos and frame data, look, like I'm like, no, we all play games. I mean, like, games are fun. Like, we all play games are fun. Then you have to tell me there's hitboxes, there's active frames, there's idle frames, there's exhaust frames, there's recovery frames, and I have to know all this nonsense in comparison for every single character, or the character I mean in comparison to other characters. For what? Bro, I X to punch. Let me punch. Why do I have to calculate that? Oh my goodness. Then there's something called neutral. Then there's pressure. Then oh my goodness. I give up there. I have enough pressure with this. Right? The only difference why I think chess is much more annoying is all it takes is 1 hour and one mistake and 3 hours. I want the local tournament this Saturday, you know, but you don't need to know every single combo. Yeah, tell me down forward low punch is all you need to know to win a tournament. Tell me that. It's impressive how most games just have down forward low punch. Anytime I play a fighting game, down forward low punch is what I automatically try. Oh boy. Okay, so I still think it's takes here, but the question is I'm thinking about how to get access to this square, but I don't think it's possible. Actually, maybe it is. Right, because I'm looking at takes, queen takes. This check here, your opponent is going to hide this way. So I'm thinking about maybe check here. And the idea is, if your opponent tries to come in this way, you have this. I don't see beyond. I don't see beyond that. I'm thinking that, okay, since we have the queen under attack, is there like a sidestep move we can make? Like we sidestep, what does our opponent do? I don't see a viable option. All I see is that our opponent has to respond to our threat. Right? And the threat is that the queen is under attack and the knight is under attack. So I'm thinking about a simple move like this, and then you have to make a decision. Because if you go, let's say here it's fine, but I take. Okay, but if let's say I go this way, my opponent takes, I play queen takes d4. I think it's just a side step. I don't think you want to actually capture here. I don't think you actually want to capture here. So today, I wanted to look at the Queen's Gambit declined, but for if there are any newbies in the chat, just let me know. And if there are quite a number of them, we may just do a study on how to plan chess. Guys, as well. Like if you're a beginner and you're interested in that. I mean, even as an intermediate, maybe there may be some things you need. I think you just sidestep. I actually want to get this one correct. I've gotten two wrong. I need to get at least one correct. I think we just sidestep. This move doesn't do anything. You have check here, but at what? Actually, wait. Here, check here. Knight comes in check. I can't infiltrate. Oh, but the queen can't, unless I go back. If I go up, yeah, still the queen can't infiltrate. Yeah, less than a beginner. Okay, what time do you have work? Or how soon is work? I think we sidestep. I'm fully convinced in the sidestep. I'm convinced in this. Whoa, we take none. What other option is there? No, like sincerely, what other option is there besides taking and sidestepping? Like, I think I know what it is, but why would you play that move? I don't see why you would play that move. Bro. No, like I know King E2 is there, but I'm like, I looked at King E2, but I'm like, why would you put yourself there? I think I now understand why you put yourself there. Okay, I now realize it. Is that the knight can't move anywhere because you just take the. Do I only play on League Chess? Currently, yes, because for some reason, I used to primarily stream on like chess.com. But I don't know what happened. Ever since I changed my laptop, and this laptop is actually better than my old one. At least slightly better than my old one. Ever since I changed laptops, whenever I stream on chess.com, it lags. Like when I'm off stream and I'm playing on chess.com, everything is fine. When I record videos on chess.com, everything is fine. But the moment I start streaming, it lags. And I don't know what's going on. Yeah, the e-column is unrated. Yeah. What I'm also that's the thing, right? I'm also realizing that there's no actual threat here. What originally deterred me, I don't know why I wasn't thinking about this, but what originally deterred me was I looked at the two. I felt I shouldn't capture, but I should sidestep. So I knew I'd either go here or here. But you know that kind of like mindset, why would I put myself on the same line as the queen? I didn't consider the other thing, right? I didn't calculate the other stuff, which is this. If I saw it, I'd have known that this is actually fine because we are actually threatening to win. Give me a second. Telecell. You had that same problem, rejection? Interesting. So have you been able to solve it? I'm on Telecell, not M. For I know someone's going to say MTN is better, but the problem is MTN broadband is not. How am I saying? Not broadband. What's the word? The better one, whatever the better one is called. They aren't available in my area. List rating 1990 or something. 1990 or 1996 or I don't remember. But it's in the 1990s. 3 wrongs in a row. This is so bad. We have to get at least one correct. Fiber is the word. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Respectable rating 8. Thanks. I just wish this rating would turn into decent tournament performances, guys. Every time I play over the board, I mess up. I don't know. You think Telisa is better? Oh, okay. I thought the general consensus is that what's the name? MTN would be better. I got this one. Flavio has seen it already. Okay, I have to figure this out. If Flavio thinks I can get this, then I have to get this. Okay, so first things first, checks, captures, attacks. When you're solving puzzles, you want to look for checks, you want to look for captures, you want to look for attacks. So check here. Okay, the pawn is defending the knight. Wait. Is the wait? Let me confirm. The pawns are moving here. Are you kidding me? What is happening to me today? What is happening to me today? Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have. I use both depending on the situation. Okay, so check here. Where does the king move? If the king moves up, we can take the knight. Our opponent promotes. If our opponent promotes, what do we do in that line? We can check. We can check. I don't see it. I don't see what's next. Queen c1 check. Okay, let's say the king comes in here. Then this is checkmate. Okay, so that doesn't work. So the next thing is if we check here, our opponent has to go down. Then we take here with check. If our opponent blocks with the queen, we take the queen. Okay, so Lichess is like, bro, you are messing up so bad. We are just going to help you get at least one. So queen c1. What else can our opponent do? Queen c1, let's say it comes in this way. Let's say it comes in this way. We still play check. Wait. Queen comes in, check, king comes in here. Sorry, king comes in here. Queen takes. Promotes into a queen. I can't play this check. I can't play this check. I can't play this check. Wait, it's not. Come on, is it here? Is it about winning the knight in the first place? Like, why am I thinking about winning the knight? Because we have check. If the king comes in here, we have check here. If the king comes in here, then we can take the knight. We don't have to take the knight immediately. Okay. So queen c1 check, king b4, queen c5 check, king goes to a4. We take the knight with check, and then we can win the other bishop. We can win the pawn. And if king moves back, no, king can't move back because our queen is here. I think that's it. Please. Please. Let him solve it first. Yeah, I appreciate that. No, you give checkmate if he plays king a2. Yeah. I figured it out. No, you don't take the queen. You play queen c7. Watch the over the formation. Yeah. I think I saw that. Where am I from? I'm from Ghana. The land. What do we even call ourselves sometimes? The land of gold and honey. That is never ours. Vergante literally answered why I didn't answer the question. I was like, the land of, and I paused because do we actually have it? That's what I was saying. I was like, did we actually have it? How do you even, I've forgotten, there's a way. What do you call it? 2500? Nice. Okay, last one. We always do 5 puzzles. Last puzzle. Oh, today has been reckless. Okay. Starter step. Check first. check first. Ooh, what do we do? We don't have this check. I know CCA, but the CCA is not CCA in here. Okay, so wait, we have rook here. Let's say pawn push, takes, and we win, right? So if we play here, what can our opponent do? Please tell me is this straightforward. We are custodians. Exactly. We are a reservoir. A storage. A storage department. I think it's just this. Because all the checks don't seem to give me anything. But what am I missing? Okay, so let's say I play here, my opponent sacrifices his rook. Let's just look at everything that's funny. Yeah, he still loses. Yeah, rejection therapy's rating is crazy. 2,500. We even saw yesterday how at 2,300. Was it yesterday or last week? At 2,300 just dismantled me over the board. I was like, not over the board, sorry, on leeches. What am I missing? Is there something my calculation I'm missing? But if the queen comes in here to try and trade, or if the rook comes in here to come and try and trade, there's always check, right? I start with check. If my opponent moves, I can check again. If he comes in this way, I have check again. So I think it's just this. But I want to make sure. Yeah, but if I play this and he plays pawn push, he doesn't have enough time to even get a check in. I think, please be correct. Okay. Oh, the starter, it still doesn't work. We still just take, right? But what if when we take, he plays rook? Then we just checkmate him. I still think we just take. Please be correct. Oh, then we check again. We check again. That way the king moves before we take the queen. Right? Because if we just take the queen now, he takes here and then we are in trouble. So we check again, then we take the queen. We have that. I'm not bad. I'm not bad at all. Oh boy. That's like some crazy annoying puzzle. I feel like I've solved this puzzle somewhere in my lifetime. Now I'm warming up. Yeah. That was so straightforward. Okay. Okay, I think I'm like 5 seconds ahead. Okay. So let's look at some things we consider when we are planning. Where is it? I might have to switch scenes. Oh. Okay, so you not see the text, but you see the. So the thing we'll talk about briefly here before we also look at the queen. You gotta go. Oh damn, we're about to start the lesson on it. Okay, no problem. See you on Discord. Okay. Oh yeah, by the way, since you mentioned, if you want to join the Discord, here. Discord. You can always join the Discord. Notify you whenever I come on live. Okay, then I also do offer coaching if anyone is interested. So we are looking at I'm not going to give everything here because these are parts of like my lessons. So I'll just speak briefly on some things. You got like 5 voiceovers to complete. Oh, okay. Wait, did you mention what? I'm still not getting that. That's fine. Okay, you didn't mention it. Yeah. One day you'll be in person? Oh, no problem. I mean, you meet me at Nationals. Like, you're able to meet me at Nationals, which is in December. And hopefully I qualify for phase 2. And then I qualify for the Olympiad. This is an Olympiad year, so it's going to be the most competitive and most I read tournament. You know, when I play the President's Cup, when people get tired, they're like, oh, draw. Not in this tournament. Because it's an Olympiad year, people are not going to take draws. In person? Okay. So, the thing here is that when you learn voice in persona. Oh, okay. Think I understand. I'm sorry. I woke up and booted up the stream. So if I'm not making any sense, that's why. It's taking me a long time to process things. I know persona. I love Shin Megami Tensei, so I know the word persona. Come on, bruh. Oh boy. So yeah, after you learn how to move the pieces in chess, learn not to hang your pieces, learn about attackers and defenders, so on and so forth, the next issue becomes like, how do I plan? Or how do I strategize? How do I know what the next step is, right, in chess? And there are various principles and things that we look at to consider when we are planning, right? Some of them are more technical, some of them are more obvious, right? So basically the same rules like the same rules you learn when you are learning your first opening, which is, if someone is here and never learned the Italian when they were starting chess, speak up now, because I've never heard of that before. Like, I've never heard of a coach saying, okay, so we are learning how to start at an opening and we play d4, or we start with f4. Like, if you had a coach, you started with e4. If you didn't have a coach, then you started with something else, right? So just like the way you follow the rules that, in the opening, don't move the same piece twice, knight before bishop, the way you follow those rules, right? The more obvious ones are the rules you can follow in these ways, right? So the point about, I'm getting a little bit groggy minded here, but the point is this. The same way you notice, for example, if you see something like 2 + 2, you know that it's addition. And the reason you know it's addition is because of the addition sign, right? So because of that plus sign, you know that you have to add the two things. In the same way in chess, like I'm saying, there are technical ones and there are obvious ones. The obvious ones are simply sign based, and sometimes we follow them as rules, right? And we are going to look at some of these signs, okay, that you have to look at. Okay. So for example, 1, if you are up in material, then you have a very simple game plan called trading down, right? Now, to every chess rule, there's an exception, but let's look at the main rule. So let's say you're playing a game of chess, right? For example, let's say you're playing a game of chess, right? And you get to this point where your opponent gives you a knight for free, right? Not really for free, but you get the picture here. So now when we count the the pieces, we see that black has 5 pieces and white has 6 pieces, right? When you notice this is the sign that we are talking about here. Oh, Vergante said, take my time. Okay, no problem. When you see this simple sign, it means that the simple game plan you have is to trade down, right? There's not much thinking you have to do here. It's find ways to trade material. And you notice in this game, that's what white does, right? Black does whatever move here. Check. The check is basically here to force the queen so that they can trade off. Queens are off the board. There's less chance for a counterattack from black, right? But here he does, black plays knight to e4, blocking the check. And this is actually what white wants to see. So white goes takes, and takes again. So now you realize what's happening here. He even loses an extra piece. So what do you realize here? Now, black has 2, white has 4, right? Black has 2, white has 4. If you've ever played Chess Masters Grandmaster Edition, Josh Waitzkin mentioned this. He used the analogy of cupcakes, right? If I have 6 cupcakes and you have 5 cupcakes, you may be okay, right? Because at least you have a cupcake. But let's start eating those cupcakes. Eventually, I'm going to have a cupcake and you are not going to have a cupcake. And that's really going to make you feel bad, right? In the same way, when you have a material advantage, right? It may not be a big deal when other pieces exist on the board. There's always ways of counterattacking. There are always ways of like swindling your way, right? There are always ways of swindling your way. I keep thinking my camera is... It used to be here. So, so when there are more pieces on the board, your opponent, though yes, he does feel that he has lost a piece, he still has a chance, right? So the more you trade down, the more you reduce his chances of a counterattack and make it more obvious of the advantage that you have, right? So the rest of the moves don't really matter, right? You don't, sorry, not that they don't really matter, but it becomes very obvious how you're supposed to play or how you are going to play. You are always going to be offering trades to your opponents, right? The moment you get the piece up, you are always going to be offering trades to your opponent. You do this, if your opponent goes here, he's going to really feel bad. So he might want to play this, or he might want to play bishop back. In which case, bam. Why are we doing this? Because we want to trade down. You get it? So that's how you formulate a plan. You just noticed a sign. What was the sign? My opponent is down material. I'm going to trade down. Where can this be an exception? Rook and pawn endgames, right? You could be up 2 pawns and trade everything down into an endgame. But rook and pawn endgames a lot of times are draws, right? So in that scenario, you may not want to trade down into an endgame. You may want to try and build something with the advantage that you have rather than just simply trading down into an endgame, right? So that's like one of the signs that, and you're going to see so many inverses and interesting things here. So we are saying that if you have material advantage, you can trade down. Please don't mix the words. Don't mix the understand the words I'm saying very carefully. If you have a material advantage, that is, if your advantage is material, you want to trade down. Now, if you are the one attacking, you want to avoid trading down. Don't just like understand that, right? No. Yes. Okay. So is it, yeah, are you coloring that book? Oh yeah, then let me see you. Okay. Wait, did I get ahead of myself? Yes. So when you're up material, you want to trade down. Okay? But when you are attacking, you want to refrain from trading down. Did I? No, I don't have an example. Sorry. I don't want to give up. Okay, so let's do the simple one. Okay, so if you are up material, you want to trade down. But if you are down material, you want to avoid trades. Right? Now, the point I'm making with this is, I can't give you every step, like every move, what to do, right? You are going to be left on your own depending on the position you have in your chess game. So, it's sort of like rules of thumb. When you notice these things, it gives you a certain plan or a certain eye of what you should do. You get it? So, if you have any questions, you can always feel free to stop me. So that's one of the signs. The second one is when you are under attack. This is another one I'm talking about. And this is actually from my game. I've shown this game on stream quite a number of times. This was my second game against my my coach from when I was a kid. And in the game, I made a mistake in the beginning, and he got a very strong advantage over me. He got a very big material advantage over me. So as much as possible, so basically I was under a very strong attack here. So I was under a very strong attack here. You can see how his pieces have invaded my territory, and the whole position looks bleak, right? So now that I'm under attack, because of the overwhelming number of forces my opponent has, he can create more threats. So in this scenario where you are under attack, what you want to do is you want to trade down. right? The reason for that is you are reducing the number of attackers your opponent has, and the less attackers they have, the safer your position is. So you see the kind of difference of opinions that exist, right? Depending on the situation, the idea changes. Sometimes the two situations can conflict, and there you have to make a choice based on the position you see on the board. So for example, what if you are under attack and you don't have the material advantage, right? Because like I said, if you don't have the material advantage, you want to avoid trading down. But now you are not having the material advantage and then you are under attack. When you are under attack, you want to trade down. When you don't have the material, you don't want to trade down. You kind of get how that conflicting, basically. So in this game, I realized that, okay, the attack is too strong. I have to find a way to trade down. So the queen, my opponent plays this move. Bishop develops. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe I don't even want to take this pawn because I'm literally opening up another flight for attack. Bishop comes in, we retreat the queen, we take the pawn, bishop comes in, and I'm happy to see this. Why? I can start trading down, and I do everything to trade down. Now we're going to look at something here. So this is queen c1, and let's look at what the engine evaluation is. +4, right? +3 +4. That's what the engine evaluation is saying here. But when we come to after this position where everything has been traded off, what do you realize now? Oh, you can't see the, oh boy. Okay, you can sort of see this thing here. But I kind of want you guys to see this. So let me switch scene. Yeah, so you can see that this is the beginning position when my opponent has the attack, right? You can see that my opponent has +4 advantage, right? He's really killing me here. And it's very obvious in the position I'm really being massacred over here. But after going through all those trades, what do you notice? It becomes +1. Is my opponent still winning? Yes, of course, he's still winning, but he's not as winning as he used to be. You get it? So these are some of the things you look at when you're making a plan, right? It's not rocket science. The technical ones is where people get like very confused, but it's not that rocket science. The fact that you've seen an addition sign means you should add. In the same way, if you're playing a chess game and you see some of these things, you should, what do you call it? Respond accordingly, right? Then the question might be, so what if I've not yet gotten this position? What do I do? Then that's where we come to like placement of pieces. So when it comes to placement of pieces, what do you look at? Okay, let's look at placement of pieces. Wait, Wong, sorry, I'm very sorry, I didn't notice it. Thank you for the follow. I really do appreciate that. So these are advantages that you get over the game. So what if you don't, sorry, how do you even get to these points in the first place? Let's get to analysis. How do you even get to this point where you might even have an advantage? Like, where do you put your pieces so that you can even have an advantage? Whenever I load them, anyways, I think with this point, but you see my eval. Nice. So let's start with the Italian, right? Let's just make some moves in the Italian, right? Sorry, knight here, it's better. Oh, come on. When you haven't slept, you make these mistakes. So the first thing is, like I mentioned, you always want to develop your pieces in such a way that they touch the center. So all the moves you make has to be in such a way that you touch the center. So some unconventional moves may make sense when you look at it in regards to the center. So let's make a funny move like this, right? I want to explain something. This move makes sense because it addresses the center in some way. Sage Crazy, how you doing? You just got off work, I'm guessing. I have to turn off the engine, right? So even though this move traditionally is considered bad, if you are considering this move in order to reroute the knight to have central pressure, that makes sense, right? But I like just to make this move for making this move sake, that just does not make it, right? So the traditional thing is that you want to develop your pieces towards the center, but as the pieces are developed, things happen during the game, and I want to try and force some of these things to happen. For example, this is not a good move from the opponent, but oh, okay, nice. Or do I just use Okay, let me use pawn structures to explain this. Let me use pawn structures to explain this. I have a study on pawn. You can check this out on Mauricio Flores's study on book on pawn structures. Where is it? No. We are just trying to study a bit of chess, and we are using these things. So let's use this. No, this pawn chain. I don't have the. Yeah, let's look at something like this. This is the Maroczy bind pawn structure. So the thing you want to do is you want to ask yourself, if I reach this point in my game, what do I do? Right? So looking at the pieces here, or looking at the pawn structure, the pawn structure is like the skeleton of a chess position, and it helps you to know. So it holds your chess position. It gives shape to your chess position, right? It's like a foundation of your chess position, right? And you can build around your pawn structure in order to gain ideas. For example, you need to protect e4. Well, we are not going into the technical side of it here. We are looking at basics, right? I'm not going to look at plans or ideas. I'm just looking basically at piece play, right? So Sage Crazy, let's not get too crazy. I'm not going too deep. We are just looking at the basic things here. And I'm really skimming through a lot of things. I'm sorry, I should have woken up earlier, but I've jumped into this. We are flowing into it, right? So you look at this position, and the question you ask yourself is, where do I want my piece? Right? So for example, where would you want your knight to be? You would want your knight to be on a square defended by a pawn. I don't want to use the word out. I think outpost is a square defended by a pawn which cannot be attacked by your opponent, which I don't want to use the word outpost. But a very nice square that you would want to put your knight in is here. Why here? One, because it's defended. We are looking at for whites. C3 is also a good square, right? C3 is also a good square. But a knight here would also be good because it threatens. It threatens squares in your opponent's center. Again, please, I know C6 exists. I'm not talking about that right now, right? We know potential plans and everything, but we're just trying to look at the position and understand these types of things, right? Exactly, right? I know it gets kicked. Please don't miss the point of this. Like, I'm trying to exempt so many other things just to make a point here, right? Otherwise, this is going to take too long. I'm just trying to make this simple and short. Right? But ideas are, there are certain squares you would want. For example, if you could get a chance, you would play something like this to prevent d6. It's not a good idea. This is not even a good plan, but you get the point here. Right? I'm not trying to consider everything. I'm trying to just make simple points. Oh, okay, well. So c3 is a very good square for the knight. I was going to, yeah. Anyways, you would like your bishop to be on d3, or sorry, d2. If the knight is here, for example, maybe you'd even want your bishop here if you could, on this diagonal if you could, right? So you want to look at the squares and then ask yourself, which squares are going to be the best for my pieces? Knights like outposts. They like to be deep into the territory, right? Bishops like open diagonals. So if any line that you see that has an open diagonal, any line that has an open diagonal, you would want the bishop to be there, right? Without looking at pawn pushes and stuff, you would want your bishop to be here, right? You'd want your bishop to be here because it's a very long diagonal. Here we realize that our light squared bishop is going to struggle. So maybe our light squared bishop would be here or here, but more preferably here, right? So by looking at the pawn structure we have versus the pawn structure our opponent has, we can come up with basic plans. So like I said, the bishops want to be on long diagonals. The knights would like to be on outpost squares deep within the opponent's territory, more centralized. The rooks want to be on open or semi-open files. I'm really cramming a lot of information, but what is an open file? What's a semi-open file? What's a closed file? An open, semi-open file, closed file are determined by the pawns on both sides, right? We are looking at the pawns on both sides. So we are not just looking at one person, we are looking at about the pawns on both. So when we look at this, for example, when we look at the A file, it's a closed file because white has a pawn on that file, black also has a pawn on that file, so it's closed. So it's not because there are two pawns on the file. Please understand that. It's not because there are two pawns on the file, that's why we call it closed. It's closed because black has a pawn on the file, white has a pawn on the file. That's why it's closed. Now, it's semi-opened when only one player has a pawn on that file, right? So if white has 3 pawns on this file, it's called a semi-open file, right? If black doesn't have a pawn on this file and white has 3 pawns on this file, it's a semi-open file, right? And what I have understood about semi-open files, excluding when you're talking about like passed pawns must be pushed, is that mostly the person without the pawn is much better at controlling that file, right? So in this position, I would say that this semi-open file is better for black than for white, right? This is from my experience. No, I've not read any book about it, at least to my memory, right? So you want to go to even a semi-open file that is good for you or advantageous for you, right? So even here we have another example here, right? This is another example of a semi-open file, and what we notice here is that white doesn't have a pawn here, but black has a pawn here. So white would like to put his rook here, but also this is still a semi-open file, so you would still want to put your rook here, right? Though it might be more advantageous for the one who doesn't have it, excluding passed pawns must be pushed. This is where you would want to put your rook. Why? It has more chance to do more things, right? It's more active, more free to move, right? If you can understand that. And then an open file is where neither player has a pawn on that file. That is the dream square of any rook. Any rook just wants to be on that square. So it's in view of these things that when you look at the games of like decent, intermediate, or strong players, that you begin to realize why they make some moves. I don't know if this game is going to have any of that, but we are just going to look at some games and see. So this game is not a very good example. This game is not going to be a good example. Okay, so here we see this, right? Sorry, back. Here we see this, where the knight jumps into a square that takes possession of or control of majority of squares in his opponent's territory. This is a square that the knight would want to be, right? In most of these types of positions, the knight wants to be in these types of squares, right? I want to see if we'll get an open file and see what happens here. So here you see what I'm talking about. Though this move is considered bad, at least it had a plan of coming into the center, right? And we are going to see something. Takes. We're going to see something. Yeah. So you are taking here. Okay, of course, the knight is under attack, but you realize that now. Is it here? Yeah. Rook comes into an open file. I don't think this game perfectly explains it, but yeah. Let me see if I have a game where I did that. Played positionally. Do I have that game? Most of my games as white is. Anyways, it's called life. Let me check this. Long diagonal. Bishops would like to be on the long diagonal. Takes. Yeah, takes. Castles, takes. And you're going to notice this is much better than here. But I think this game I did that. Yeah. This rook is not doing anything. There are many squares you can move it to, but then the square you want to move this rook to is here. Not just because it attacks the bishop, but because you give this rook an active square. There's a game I played recently in a tournament where my opponent was attacking me mercilessly, right? That video is dropping in about 16 minutes, right? Where is it? President's Cup. My opponent was attacking me mercilessly, and at a point in time, his attack just dwindles into nothingness. So I ask myself, okay, so now that his attack has reduced into nothingness, what do I do? So this is the attack he was stressing me out with. The moment I realized that his attack has dwindled into nothing, I make a developing move, right? I realize that my opponent can't really attack me here. You can calculate it if you want. My opponent cannot attack me over here. So I have to make a move to improve my position. And what move do I pick here? Rook to b1. I looked at so many things. I looked at pawn push. I looked at pawn. I looked at bishop here. I looked at everything. And I'm like, nah, this guy could be much more useful. And I look around. This is closed. This is closed. This is semi-open, but why? So concluding all these things, I'm like, yeah, this is where my rook needs. So these are the things that we like look at. Rook on semi-open file, exactly, right? So these are the things you look at when it comes to planning outside of the opening, right? The opening serves as a guideline on how you want to start, but after the opening ends, so that's why that's where a lot of beginners mess up. They focus too much on the opening because the opening gives them what to do. You know, the opening is so straightforward. Oh, move the pawn. If your opponent moves this pawn, then you do this. If your opponent does this, then you do this. It's so straightforward and easy to understand, as compared to when you are left on your own in the forest, right? So, when openings can guide you to a point, but what will actually win you the game is being able to identify things, right? A strong opening, of course, gives you an advantage, but if you don't know how to build on that advantage, I don't know of a rook. I don't know of a opening that guides you all the way to the end of the game. No, it gives you portions. This is a basic idea of what you want to do. These are the kind of end games you can get out of it. But what happens in the middle, it can't account for it. It can give you a gist of what could happen, but it can't really address it. So it's these things that we use to come up with plans mid-game. We look at our pieces. So I always pick up. I have a video on this. There are 5 elements on chess. You can always go and check them out. There are 5 things you want to look at. You want to look at space, right? Who controls more space? Based on who controls more space, your plans change, right? If I control less space, maybe my plan is to try and find a way to counterbalance that space, or to improve my space elsewhere. So for example, if someone is attacking you on the king side, he has more space on the king side, you may choose to counter attack in the center, right? Something like that. Then we look at king safety. Is my king safe? If your king is not safe, how do you resolve it? Then look at your pieces, the activity of your pieces, right? So for example, in this position, I look at the activity of my pieces. What piece isn't doing anything on the board? I realize my rook is not doing anything on the board. I put it somewhere where it does something, right? Time is a very difficult concept to explain, right? Then we look at time, activity, piece quantity, or material advantage, right? And like I said, if you have the material advantage, so these are the things that you want to look at. Again, I'm really summarizing and cramming the information, so that's why it's not making so much sense. And also, I also look at. But if you have any questions on what I'm saying, you can always feel free to ask. I'll slow down and make it easier for you to get it. But that's basically how it is. Always think about signs, right? Like a diagnosis. You look at the board and you notice certain signs. Those signs are the things you look at to come up with chess plans. You have to look at those signs. Chess is not so empty that like you have to guess. No, there are things you notice. There are times you can tell that there's nothing happening on the board. Like the board is literally dead. There's nothing happening. When there's nothing happening, it's either you have to try and find a way to make something happen, or if the game is just dead, realize that you're going for a draw and either offer a draw or if you're like Magnus Carlsen and the others, fight to make something, right? There are times you notice that your opponent has a potential weakness that you can pile up on or make much more glaring. Focus on those weaknesses. Let's look at I think my game against Francis Akwanda. So for example, my decision was not wrong, but it was not the best. So for example, in this position, my opponent takes with the pawn. What happens here is that he has given me a weakness to target, right? The better move was this, for funny reasons, but I played this move. Why? I am targeting a weakness. It's not that it's difficult to understand. Right? Your opponent gives you something, you look at it, right? You consider it. So the weaknesses and the signs in the position helps you to know what to do, right? When we come into good bishop versus bad bishop, then this, when you look at good bishop and bad bishop, then you understand why I even played knight here. First of all, the knight is better on this square. Second of all, when you compare bishops, my bishop is better than my opponent's bishop, right? So I want to keep my bishop. Makes perfect sense. Very straightforward, right? There's not too much thinking in this aspect. There are very technical things, and there are things I'm leaving out. But this is just to give you a certain framework to understand that planning in chess is not that hard once you know, or once you can identify what the signs are. Some of the signs you will never know until someone tells you, which is why I always say that the best way I think to learn chess is with a coach. I don't think you can go far in chess if you, like, you will really struggle. You will really struggle because they can really point things out to you. It took me a while to know that I'm positioned. It took me a while to learn something. I spent majority of my beginning in chess learning opening. So when I started in chess, I knew the names of so many openings and so many 10 moves deep into each opening. But I was always losing my game simply because I didn't understand what goes into actually having ideas. This will do you more good, because the more I improve in chess, the more I realize that you can fumble the opening and still have a good. It's one of the things I'm realizing. I'm not advising you to be fumbling your openings, but I kind of get that point. So don't ignore the signs. Really look at your position. A lot of times when I play against beginners, they are like, hurry up and move. No, like really spot what's going on in the position. You'll notice weaknesses. You'll notice problems with your opponent's position. Like my opponent jumping here. Like after I made this, again, you see, semi-open foul, rook comes in. Just a simple. In this game, there's nothing happening. Nothing is happening here. So you are just making simple developing move. Then my opponent makes bishop back. There's something wrong with this move. Right? So I noticed the sign. I know that it's this, but I didn't know how to address it. So I made a slightly better option. Right? I could see that this pawn is hanging, but I had to find the reason behind this move. And I realized that he wants to trade off bishops. I think my bishop is much better in this position. So I noticed that sign of the knight coming in. Because where is the knight going? Is he coming here? Doesn't make any sense. Is he coming here? Doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. Right? So the only thing that makes sense is that he wants to bring the bishop here. So noticing that sign, I play this move. If I say I'm just going to play fast and then go queen here, I might just mess up. Right? So I noticed that sign and then I play this and I deal with it. Right? So you don't ignore the signs your opponent gives to you. Right? He plays the rook here. You notice it's a weakness, you have to stop it. The other rook comes in here. I realize, okay, there's a threat coming in here. I trade off queens. I try and develop towards the center because I realized that, okay, my opponent can play f5. Takes. Bring the bishop back. We have this end. And there's a weakness here. This pawn is a weakness. Your opponent cannot effectively. What do? You pile up on the. Very straightforward. These are the very straightforward plans. I don't want to get into I don't want to get into all of it simply because it's part of my. I can't give you everything. But yeah, if you do want to, if you are interested in mainly online, that's basically it. Outside of that, let's look at this opening that pisses me off 1,000 times. So the last time we looked at a very interesting line in the landing system. Did I leave it there? Uh-oh. Is it this? I think it's this. I think it's this. Yeah. We went through this whole line. I've been playing it in case you guys don't know. I've actually been playing this a lot. And the line, I've been getting a lot of this line. Not H4. There was a line we looked at. Not H4, H5. There was a line we looked at with I think no, not here. There's a line we looked at. There's a line we looked at. I think it's here. No, where's the knight e5 coming? There's a knight e5 move. And I've been playing that line like crazy. Really? Did I move that line? There's a line we were experimenting with this and going this way. And I've been playing this line non-stop. Either with the knight jumping in here or with the rook coming in here with G. I think that's also rook G1. Yeah. This line. And bro, the way I've been winning games. Again, this is a bad position. Playing this way is kind of bad for white. That's what we experimented on. But it's been so funny how it's won me games. Rook G1. Where's rook G1? The amount of games I've won because of this. I think I've played this about 4 times and I've won it 3 out of 4. So again, I think because people don't know it much, that's why it's that effective. But yeah, maybe I should make these lessons public to you guys, but I should just ensure that nobody can change it because we study all this together. So I think it's just fair that. So let me just let me make sure that nobody else can. Vita analysis, everyone. I try to use sometimes. Oh, for sure. Fridays viewer streams for sure. I'll definitely be playing it. Visibility is public. Sync fine. Where is that thing that allows? Okay, I think it's not here. So okay, that's fine. So I'll just put this. Remember, I said it's not a good line. Just have to catch. Sometimes the victory is that you know what to do better than you. That's even the advantage of the Scandinavian. You know what to do better than you. So, anyways, I want to look at something, and if you are an expert in the Queen's Gambit declined, I'll need your help because I always get confused with the Queen. I really don't know what to do. If I win against the Queen's Gambit declined, usually it's by luck. Right? So oftentimes when I'm playing as black, and like my opponent goes d4 d5 here, obviously this is the move for sure. Knight c3. I often play here, but this is all I know, right? Sometimes they play this. For those who don't play that, maybe let's go with the let's go knight. Play French? No, never. You know the funny thing about the French? The French is only good when you transpose into it, not when you actually play. For example, since you brought it up, let's go to analysis board. If you play this as Scandinavian, right? This is a better French than if you actually play the French. And if you play the Caro-Kann, this is a much better French than the French itself. Play f5. Oh, bishop to f5. Oh, okay. That's my opinion on the French. My opinion is that playing the French itself is not good. Transposing to the and all the French players, by French I mean those who play French, just got pissed off. Yeah, so let's go back to the Queen's Gambit decline. Chess with Sai, how you doing? I feel like I know the name. The name is so. Oh, is it some? Welcome to the stream, guys. Please, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, follow, like, whatever it is that you can do. YouTube subscribe, Twitch follow, and if you also want to support me on it, you can also subscribe. Oh, by the way, thank you guys. We reached 400 subscribers on YouTube. 600 more. You have to do before the end of the year. Not always. You don't always have. This is like a semi-tarash, right? Not always. And the problem with this is it can lead you into these IQPs. You have a doubt to ask me, feel free. Hello. How do you prepare for a tournament? Well, it depends on the kind of tournament you are playing. If you are playing Swiss, then just solidify your lines. Like, get to know your lines very well, right? Do puzzles, and I mean that's basically it. Get lots of rest, and that's basically it. Because in Swiss you can play anyone, but if it's round robin, that's where I think most people are wondering about when it comes to prepping. With round robin, since you are going to face everyone, then you can look into your opponent's games and then try and figure out what to do, right? But for a tournament, basically, just get confident with your lines, what you are going to play, and don't overthink things like, oh, he plays this, what if I play this? No, just know your lines. If you can make those counters, why not? But know your lines very well, know your plans, right? Whatever your opponents are going to play, make sure you have a response to it as far as you can prepare, right? But because you can't predict who your opponents are, that's basically going to you can just do the puzzles and solidify your line, right? Because you're preparing for a tournament. But if you are studying, that's when you have to look at the other information. But to prepare for a tournament, just make sure you know your. Just make sure. Even this tournament I played, I was trying to play against my opponents, and I just changed my mind because I realized that it's much more stressful when you don't know who you are going to play and you prep for them. Because there are some players I didn't even play. I didn't even catch them one. So the bishop c5 and knight c6, you control the square in front of that. Yes, I know. Yes, I'm aware of that. I would say that you could memorize the lines, but much more than memorizing the lines, understand the ideas. And how do you make a file for it? Oh, that's quite simple. What you have to do is what we call main line, right? Whenever I want to study an opening, you study what is called the main line. That is like the traditional line of the opening, right? It contains everything you need to know about that opening, right? Then from the main line, you look at the branches, the variation of said line. So you start by first doing the main line. Start by first studying the main line. Where's my this is the file I have, right? So what is the main line landing? It's this. Yes, before someone says, oh no, it's not always bishop f4. Bishop f4 is accelerated landing. Yes, I know it's an improvement, but this just stops this. Don't forget that. Anyways, so basically you get to the main line. This is the main line of the opening. Now there are ideas that are concerns with these openings. I think it's much more important for you to know the strengths of the position and the ideas behind the position when studying an opening, right? And memorizing the lines, the reason I'm saying that don't memorize the lines is because oftentimes when you start learning variations of an opening, those lines begin to crisscross in your mind, right? They begin to mess you up. Maybe just an experience for me, but there are times where I'm trying to remember a line of an opening and it differs by two things, right? The position of a knight, maybe the knight is here or something. Like it's just like slight differences. Maybe the bishop is not here, the bishop is here. There are slight differences. But if you are just going to memorize the line and say, I'm playing the line, if your opponent plays something different, or if you forget the line, or if two lines conflict in your mind, you are going to make mistakes. So rather than that, know the ideas, because the ideas will not fail you. This is what I'm trying to accomplish. My opponent played a move I did not prepare for. Does it impede on my idea? If you notice that it can impede on your idea, then you make adjustments. Then the adjustments mostly come from your experience in playing chess positions or from even the variations, because there are ideas from the variations. There are many times I do something like that. So, for example, this is the Jobava landing, right? This is the Jobava landing. It starts like this, right? And then you get this. Now, there are lines in the Jobava landing with c5 here, and if your opponent jumps in here, you go this way. This is the Jobava landing, right? Now, with the normal landing system, right, you are aiming to play c6 or something like that, right? Let's say my opponent plays here, I play here, and then they play c5. It's still the same lines, but then I can also then include this. Do you get it? So that if my opponent is not watching and he plays this, I jump here, combining two ideas, right? So I don't think you should memorizing them. I don't know. I really don't want to support memorize, you know. I really like the ideas of it. But if you do want to memorize, you can check out Chessable. They use this spaced repetition system. I personally don't like memorize, but they use this spaced repetition system. You can create your own personal study and insert the lines you want to memorize in it, and then every day just keep going through it. It always sends you reminders that you should keep going through it. But I think the most important thing is to get the idea. So first you want to know the main line and the ideas of the main line. So for example, one of the things you want is if you can get your knight here, that's fine. If you can get e4, e5, that's fine. Of course, you want to prevent your opponent from getting e4, e5. There are times you can go for a kingside attack if possible. There are times you just play for the center, go for a slow game. That's what you should know, right? And basically this is how you make the fast. So I think I lost myself there. So this is the main line, and after you get to the main line, then you look at the other things your opponent can do. So it's from this point other things come out. So for example, I look at what's called the poison pawn variation. So we look at the same line, and what do you realize? This happens. So you realize that your opponent does not play the traditional way you expect. For example, you expect c6 here or e6 here, so I can play your knight in, but they go this way, and like I mentioned, you can transpose in the Jobava and then you get this. Then here the poison pawn is basically, can I ignore this pawn? And then you jump in. So that's one. Number two, trying to go for the main line, our opponent does something else. We look at this, then we look at other options. Basically you just look at other things your opponent can do. Wait, I think I've combined Jobava and landing here. Yeah, I've combined the two. I've forgotten how I arranged them, but basically these are the things you are looking. Modern is if your opponent plays g6, right? So if your opponent plays g6, there's something else you do. You got it? Oh, that's great. That's great. So I used to be someone who memorizes openings. I really love to memorize openings. I studied like 15 moves deep in the in the hedgehog. That was like my main opening at the point in time. It's strange to call it the main opening because it's not always an opening you can force yourself into. You get it? So that's basically it. So you just need to know the main line, learn the ideas in the main line, then you look at the variations to it. What else can your opponent do other than getting to the main line? But it's very difficult to prepare for everything. Very difficult to prepare. So what will help you the most is understanding the ideas or the positions, Right? Like I was talking about earlier, planning, looking at pawn structure and coming up with that. I think that's what will help you more. Anyways, so let's go to the next one. He said something. Yeah, so Sage Grey said, but Bishop C5 and Knight C6, you control that. Yeah. But I personally don't like playing IQ. I know I keep saying these things, but it's like how do I put it? There are some positions I have to learn, but I'm not comfortable with them. Like I really try and avoid them. If I'm to share all like my opening files with you guys, you'll notice that there are certain good moves I avoid playing simply because of the positions that they lead me in. I think I just have to bite the bullet and learn them, but it pisses me off. They piss me off. So yes, is this bad? No. Bishop here, everything. This is not bad, but I hate playing IQP. That's the point. I hate playing IQP. If that makes any sense. So I'm trying to figure out like, so another thing I do is this. If my opponent plays this and I come in here, they go in this way. I like to play A6, but oftentimes my opponents don't give me this line. Where, for example, if your opponent plays bishop, you take, they take, you go this way, they go back, and then you go bishop. This is the line I often look out for when I'm playing the Queen's Gambit decline. It's very dangerous. It's a very dangerous line for black, because black is very uncomfortable here. But of course, you do have Sage Crazy, the moves you were talking about, for example, here. A very normal idea, again, I'm not playing the correct moves, but a very normal idea is this. Right? So I don't know. I've oftentimes when my opponent plays the Queen's Gambit, I don't know what to do. Because often, if you play A6, the rarest thing for me to get is the position I showed you. Yeah, I get it. I'm the same. What's the point of having a good position without comfortable in it? Exactly. Right? But what I'm trying to beat myself on is that by learning those positions, I will become a better chess player. So I'll eventually get into it. You've also played that way. Like, it's time consuming, right? To make a repertoire. You play the English. Oh, you're going to study a lot. So I must be studying the opening ideas and kinds, and yeah. It is. Chess is like a job, right? So depending on how this is why I always tell people, how far do you want to go in chess? If you don't want to go far in chess, don't stress yourself. I know it's sad to lose games and all that, but if you are not willing to commit yourself to studying, forget about becoming a strong player in chess. Just forget about it. It's work. It's work. Yeah, so when you lose to something, let's say you've prepared your opening, when you lose to something, it becomes a new file on your page. Then you have to spend time analyzing it. But what's your rating first of all? Because close position knight should be good, but we all know that close positions end up eventually becoming open. They don't stay close forever. It's very rare. So that's why sometimes people still choose to keep the bishops, though there's bishop versus knight. So it's considered in close positions, trade your bishops for your opponent's knights, but you can also consider the fact that in the end game, the game is likely going to open up, so you may still want to hold on to your bishop. The exceptions in chess are so annoying. That's where chess becomes annoying, when you learn the exceptions. You're like 1500 rated in FIDE. Don't go too deep into it. Right now, what you need to do is understand chess principles. Understand what goes into planning. Don't hang your pieces. Learn tactics. Don't stress yourself too much about the opening in that sense. But what I'll say is, whenever your opponent plays something you don't understand, take a bit of time and find out what you can do against it and practice it again. At this point, you learn by your experiences. You learn a lot by your experience, right? You play and you analyze, and then you make corrections, right? You can still do what I said, make the file and everything. Go through it every day if you want to, just to make sure that you are aware of what you are doing. Don't stress yourself. I was also stressing myself like that. Yeah, that's actually is how you play. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. You can't just play through intuition. You have some. So learn. So at this point, don't worry yourself too much about the opening. You can find one opening, simple opening. Personally, I like openings that control what my opponent can do. Right? Not these. Like, you already played the English. So you've been playing it for. I'm assuming you've been playing it for a while since you're 15. But I wouldn't recommend English until you're something like 16, 1700. 1500s can play it, but I think that it's a little bit too technical. I feel like some openings are too difficult. They are too technical. There's so much to unpack because not just are you. Hey, what am I trying to say? Because you're really like breaking a lot of the simple chess principles, and you're going straight for something very obscure with c4. There's so many complications that come with it. I started playing chess somewhere 2013, but I'll say I started playing chess seriously from entered the university in 2014. 2016 to 2019, 2020, I played chess very seriously. But from 2020 when COVID hit, I became a streamer. Yes, I've been streaming for this long, guys. I have been streaming for this long. It took me 8 months, I think, to get affiliates. Right now, I'm trying to build the YouTube, but I was first just focusing on the stream. So I don't know. Count from 2013 or 2016 is much more, I think, a better way to start from. So maybe 9 years. I think 9 years would be. That's almost a year. Yeah. Average rook player. Hi. I've got plenty of experience for real. Yeah, I mean, but I think my experience is very good for 1700 and below. I have to reach 2000 before I speak to 2. I mean, I don't trust my Lichess rating. Though it's 2000, I don't. Really average rock experience. You can see me live responding to the stuff. And you say I'm pre-recorded. AI has affected so many people. Yeah. I keep missing scary. Sorry, I said scary. Crazy. Yeah, you said the long-term weakness. There's long-term weakness on the white side. Yes, I agree. Oftentimes when I have to go and check, I have to go and confirm this. But whenever I get this position, I usually have good. I often have good positions. Right? But they rarely play. That's the problem, Sage Crazy. That's the problem. They rarely play it. If they play it, fine. But it's the most unlikely line you are going to see. You are unlikely going to see this, and it may either that or it may come at a time when it's not as effective anymore, you know? Everyone saying you're linked to your friends? Hey, nice. Thanks. You go to tournaments? Yes. I used to play a lot of tournaments within 2016 to 2020, but these days I only play 2 tournaments a year, right? If one of them is always going to happen, one of them sometimes we are not sure. So last 2 weeks, I played an over the board tournament. That's the President's Cup. And this December, I will be playing the Nationals. I play the Nationals every year. So Chess with Saya on the YouTube channel, you can just go to like the video section, and you see all my analysis videos on my yeah, C5 looks. Wait, where are we with C5? Yeah, C5 looks good. Yeah. E5 definitely. E5 definitely. So since my opponents don't play that, I don't want to drive off course too much. But I'm enjoying the questions, guys. I really love the questions. If you have questions, you can always feel free. I'm here to help you if you are struggling. And if I'm also making a mistake, you can always correct me and then we can discuss it. This is a steady stream. This is the most interactive you see. Anyways, so I'm trying to figure out what to do. There is also sometimes, like for example, they go here, and ideally you'd want to play this, but then again, this move is annoying. Not to say that you can't play this, but it's sometimes very annoying because like now things are all hanging in the balance. So there was this Magnus Carlsen line that I kept looking at, which is this. But I feel like it's too slow. Like I like it and I play it a lot, but I feel like it's too slow. Like it gives your opponent the opportunity to start bouncing back ideas, you know. But also I don't like this. I also don't like this. So if anybody can, my FIDE rating is abysmal. My FIDE rating is abysmal. Just with Sai, I don't feel comfortable, and it keeps dropping. But I should be 1641 by the end of. I am going to be 1641 by the end of this month. I can play the tournament this week and try and raise my rating, but it's very difficult for me. Kaizego, nice live, keep it going. Thanks, appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. I'm 1645. Yeah, my rating has just been dropping. I was 1667, and now I'm 1641. I'm going to 1641 by the end of this year. That sucks. What I want to do before I stop playing over the board tournaments is to at least get 2000 and get candidate master. Those are the things I'm looking for. That's where I would stop. And there are many ways to do it, but the easiest is to qualify for the Olympiad. That's why I always play the nationals. I'm trying to qualify for. And this year is an Olympiad year. This year is an Olympiad year, so it's going to be very. Can we be friends? My the way I define friends is very different, I think, from most. But yeah, we can be talking. We can be talking. Who knows? Maybe we'll become friends. But I don't start off as friends. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone. I become philosophical, but yeah, I'm careful when I call someone. Yeah, we can be talking. Look. That, for example, I define friends as someone who can influence you, right? So for someone to be my friend, I have to know the person, right? Like I have to know the person so that I know that like if we are interacting, it's to a certain good end. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's kind of like how I define friends. I need to know you for a while before I call you. So at the point we can just be. A lot of people come around and we interact. Like someone like Flavio, I call him a friend, but I've known him since 20. Acquaintances first. And guys, Sai is definitely a guy. That rhyme. Can we play a game? Sai, we do that on Fridays. I play viewers on Fridays. Every stream. I stream Mondays. I stream. Guys, I think that's the way the world should work. I stream Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Mondays, I just grind ELO. I play Blitz and I grind ELO. Tuesdays, I study. So I study with you guys. Fridays, I play viewers. Oh boy. You know, I could have just said, oh yeah, we can be friends, and I've ended it there. But I have to explain myself and not say we can be friends. I'm sure many people have just been like, you know, I don't have time to explain myself. So yeah, I'll just say, yeah, we can be friends. But then to say, yeah, we can be friends, and then I don't answer all your emails and I respond as and when I'm free. I don't think anybody would like that. So I just want to be straightforward. So chess with Sai, if you come on Friday, I'll definitely play you for sure. It's so that we can have a streamline. We have not talked much about this position. You're focusing on end games. I was going through some basic stuff before. Yeah, I also struggle with end games. I am doing the Dovreski's end game manual, though I'm getting mixed advices. People are like, it's too technical, start with a simpler book, and some are like, yeah, if you really want to understand, that's the book you should go for. Yeah, like in India, what time is it in Ghana? 12:24 right now. Tactics, yeah. Okay, so Sage it crazy, all you guys out there. So what would you recommend? When we were at the tournament, someone said something which intrigued me, that I think after like everything that happens, all the chess that has been played in the world, it's been accepted that the accepted has been refuted, or it's not so good. But someone mentioned that because that is the assumption, many people don't study the accepted. So I was considering learning the accepted. But then that means it's only going to be useful till I get to like 2000, which is where I want to get to, right? Oh, you got 100 endgames you must know. That's a good book. Yeah, you can take on c4. That's the line I'm also considering. I'm considering taking on c4. I think that's a good line. But apparently it's been refuted. I don't know what the refutation line is, but I played a London system, and as black again. So Sai, like I was talking about, like transpositional learning. If I was playing a London system, for example, and my opponent played, for example, this, I could go here, right? If you are seeing the thing, it's drawing at top level, but I'm not top level, you know. You know, I think that beginners don't understand certain things. Like when I say beginners, we are all parts. Like, Sage, what you're saying is very correct. I think you understand the point. But if they say it's drawing at high level, what is high level? Because I was watching John Bartholomew one day, and he was playing against one of his viewers, or he was doing climbing the rating ladder or something. Then he played against someone who was 2000, and he was like, oh, this guy is an intermediate, or like he's a average player. Like he defined him as an average player, right? So if 2000 is an average player, high level is a different thing, right? So for us plebeians, we can play this. Like, that's my point. Someone like, oh, the London system has been solved, it's drawish. Bro, are you 2400? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I clarified that. Sage crazy. F2 is an option in London. That's the Jobava. Yes, F2 is an option with knights here. Knights here with ideas like that. It is an option. But you are correct, Sage crazy. It's something that I think sometimes we beginners forget. So if it's a draw in top level, I really don't care. I'll play it. I'll play it. You know? So I was thinking, so do we look at lines with C ticks? Sorry, and this one, that line. Should we look at lines with should we look at lines with ticks? Or should we try and look at bishop and then whatever comes up here? Assuming our opponent doesn't play. If they play e6, this is a very straightforward move we want to play. Or let's say this, and then we'll look at the position from here. So where do you think should be a good starting point? What should be a good starting point? I shouldn't take your word for it. Because even I think a 1900 lost to the accepted in the tournament I played. If you're asking if I know it by name, yes, I know the semi-Slav, but I don't know the lines under the Slav. The openings I do have big experiences in are the semi-slav is the when you play this move. You are recommending that I play the semi-slav. Yeah. Oh, I get why you're saying that, because it resembles the landing. I'm guessing that's why you're saying that, right? Is that why you're recommending that, people? If you're saying play slow, then this move is very good. If you're saying play slow, then this is a very good option because it's very slow. I think the more challenging lines have to do with either queen a4 or queen b3. I think those are the most challenging lines that I face. But people said we are also discussing. Want to know where we are starting? Then we look at some lines, and then we continue from there. So if you can recommend, I want to know a starting point. Like, I want to have something, and I'll just study it for now. Because always hoping for my opponent to play this move just so I can play knight here, I don't like it. Because I always feel like a3 is very slow. I always feel like it's very slow. And very rarely does my opponent play this. Very rarely do they play this, because this is like quite drawish. I don't know. I should wait because bishop d7 drops a pawn in the center. I get what you're saying. I mean, we could also try and play. We could also try and play Collie Zukertort as black. What do you think about that one? Knight d7 is possible. Yes, knight d7 is a line. Yes, I think knight d7 is a line. Well, so okay, so if our opponent plays this, then I think we can play here, aiming to play c5, which again I don't like. Change which one do you like, the Collie Zukertort or this one? I'm 5 to 10 seconds ahead of you guys. So which one do you say? Are you saying you like? You don't like fianchettos. Okay. So you don't want to look at the line with b6. Understandable. You like the b6 bishop to b7. Okay, so we will look at, so like I said, the line I often play is if my opponent, for example, does this and I jump in here and they come in here, I play here. If they play here, takes. This is the line, so we can save this line as our default line. So we delete everything else. Let's delete everything else. Let's delete everything else. Then we'll make another steady. Okay, I want to delete, yeah. Nice. Okay, so we'll call this fianchetto. Let's just name this the fianchetto. So once again, I will share this link again. So since we are all working together, we'll use this together. But the only thing is, I will not allow anybody to edit the lines, and the reason is because there's definitely going to be some troll out there who is going to change the lines, right? So I'm not going to allow that. So for those who want to get it, you can save or bookmark it. There's it. So we are going to first look at we'll look at the Collie Zukertort line, and then we'll look at the I think it's the Caro-Kann, sorry, the semi-Slav line. I think we'll look at those two lines. I'm also thinking about the semi-Slav because it does resemble a Collie, not a Collie Zukertort, because the Collie is not with the b6, but the bishop is still stuck, right? So yeah, we'll look at that. So this is the fianchetto, and I want to add the other line. So Queen's Gambit again, but not a fianchetto. We'll look at the poly what? Staccato. And we'll do the lines again. Sorry, d4, d5. Yeah, sorry. c4 here. Polyzuka, we play knight here. We go this way. Sorry, knight. Knight here. We go this way. Well, let me give you 6. We'll start it from here. Because I think there are many varied things that your opponent can do before you play bishop here. So we'll start it from here, and then the final one. Divaka, how you doing? You promised? Yeah. Great to have you back. Thank you so much for joining us, Divaka. This is the steady stream. Then the last one, that's just the semi-slab. Semi. Anyways, and we'll look at the lines again. So d4, d4, d5 here, knight jumps in, and then we have this. Okay, great. So now we can start. So let's start with the Polyzuka. Let's go. Here we're going to use engine and our human mind. So, and also whenever I turn on the engine, the stream begins to lag. So it's not your PC, and this lag is why I've not been streaming on channel. I've turned on the engine, and that's why. Okay. So here, the two moves the engine is considering here is knight and takes, which are the two moves I think are likely. There's also here. Let me increase the lines. Let me turn this. Let me increase the line. Let me increase the lines to 3. Let's see. The more I increase it, the more the problem is. Top quality stream as always. Thanks. I always appreciate it. I sometimes play King's Indian against d4. Just throwing it out there. I know it's not the lines we're looking at. I used to play the King's Indian defense, so I can kind of transpose those two ideas. But of course, it won't fit into these lines that we have. Give me a second. Yeah, okay. But okay. That's c4. I used to play this primarily. I used to play this at some point. Okay. Of course, like he said, this is not part of what we are looking at. But so we are going to look at, so who was it? Was it Sage Crazy or Chess by Side? It's Chess by Side. If you are here, this is basically how I do it sometimes, right? It's a lot of breaking things down. So we're going to look at knight. We're going to look at pawn takes. These are the lines I think are the most likely. But I'll look more at knight to f3 than pawn takes. And then finally, we are going to look at what was the other line? Bishop f4. Bishop f4 is not the only good one. Let me increase the lines again. Let me increase the lines again. Let's go to 4. There should be a queen move. Wow. Sorry, not, G3. Huh. I don't know. I doubt. I'm not saying it can't be played, but wait, why isn't it considering the queen move? Is this position so not good for the queen to come in there? Let's check this again. Queen C2 is the engine's best option. Can you imagine that? Oh, am I that bad? Anyways, they're all equally in a sense good. They're not like all bad. It's not like queen here is bad. It's actually very decent. I was just thinking now to be much higher up on the engine scale. Okay. So D takes bishop, and then I think queen sorry, queen E2. These are the lines I'll look at for now. Okay. Okay, so I think ideally after this move, let's go with the knight F3. You don't want to put the bishop in immediately. I think you can, like, you think C2 makes sense? Queen C2 makes sense because the bishop isn't coming to the H1B1 diagonal. The H2, sorry. Yeah. So it's like, let's go knight F6 first. Again, it's bringing a line I don't like, but it keeps weighing the other lines worse than this. I don't want to allow this. So what about just H6? Whoa, we are in a losing position. Sorry, let me turn off the engine. And we throw this line away. It's either we do that or we go about it in a different way, right? That is to say, how would we even do that? How would we even do that? I was thinking I would have played H6 here. So get the idea here. I play this, my opponent does this. Then I play this move and it's still bad. I wanted to try and see if I can transpose into the opening. And then, okay, this is a better transposition. This is a better transposition. But let's see if Queen C2. Best moves don't matter if you're comfortable in the position. Try and build on positions that aren't losing your confidence. True. Yeah. I will look at those lines. I just want to, I don't consider what the engine says to be scary until it goes like 1.5 thereabout. And the engine went 1.5 when I played it in that line that I mentioned. This way. Sorry. Was it this? Yeah. If I play this here, the engine goes to 1.3, which I think is significant. I think it's significant. It may not be that significant, but I think it's significant. I don't think it's something I can ignore. I don't know. Possible the game, it's possible as the game goes on, it will change its mind about the evaluation since I'm playing against a human. But I don't know. I don't want to play knight f3. I don't. We'll delete this line. Oh boy. Okay, bishop to e7 is fine. Then if this move, then we can go bishop to b7. I think that's fine. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to play 20 moves like a computer. That's true. So I think we can go about it this way. But the significant, I think, approach here is if my opponent plays bishop here. In this case, I would consider playing this because my opponent would have to waste another move coming here. So I think we can go about it this way, right? We will waste a move here. If we play this, our opponent can make up his mind and come this way. So rather than give him that, we'll play this move. Again, you can play this, I think, but this is going to deter your opponent from playing that. So we'll probably just play this move. I don't like the placement of the bishop, but I think I can deal with this. Then after this, if our opponent makes his committal move, then we can now jump in with here. Because if he does this, he's going to waste his time. Because after this, takes, I think this position is okay for black. Yeah. Yeah, this is close to the main line, true. So I think this is fine. I think the starter step is fine. This is what you play as white. Oh, okay. Or when you play the Quali Zucatot as white, this is what you play. Okay, cool. I like bishop to g5 for white. Wait, but I think what we are looking at here is a starter step, right? We play this move, our opponent plays knight, right? They play knight, then we go here first, blocking away this option, and now you have to make a move. If you play this, my knight is safe, right? If you play the queen here, I can still come in this way, and this is not as scary. And then what else can you do? I'm not here where you were before. What's my rating? 1641. Let me go back to the screen. Where? Because this is the lines we are looking at. Like this. But if you're asking about my lead chess, it's Queen C2. Oh, Queen C2. Okay, Queen C2. Queen C2, knight F6, bishop D5. Okay, this is the line you're talking about. Yeah, I'm 10 seconds ahead of you guys. Okay. But I think I would be okay with this. I think I'll be okay with this. I think the starter step would be worse for my opponent. For my opponent to, for example, go in this way, and then after this come in this way. I think this is worse for my opponent. But I can also accept after Queen C2, knight here, bishop comes in. And I don't think I'm even going to pressurize my opponent into taking. I'll just continue developing. Or knight here first. Actually, no. Bishop here first. I think knight here, your opponent takes, right? Okay, you can take here, but then he takes here. I don't want to complicate my life. I think just bishop is fine. No, is it rapid? What's 90 plus 30? Is that classical? That's rapid. On Lee chess, I'm just I was giving you my FIDE rating, if that's what you were looking for. I should play knight d7 first, rather. So rapid I'm 2077. Blitz I'm 1994. Bullet I'm 1968. If your bishop lands on f6, it's not having fun. I get what you're saying. So you are saying that rather I should play this, because if I were to play this and then he goes takes, this bishop is not having fun. Okay. But then, isn't this a problem? Okay, he can't take, right? He can't take it, right? He can't take it. Yeah, he can't take it. Okay. I miscalculated. He can't take it. Hey, thanks. Thanks, YouTube. That's something. Okay. Okay, so knight bd7 I think is good. Funny enough, the engine doesn't like it as much. Again, 0.7 is not a big deal. It prefers my move though. But yeah, I get why. I think the issue, for example, is that I think the game is simplifying itself here. So takes, let's say you take with the pawn. I think here, and the game is really being simplified, I think, is the issue. But I think black is doing well here, to be frank. Bishop on f6 is chilling in my opinion. I mean, I don't have an opinion on that. I personally would agree with someone like YouTubeX someone. I have had positions where the bishop is good here, but I think what Stage Crazy is talking about is the fact that the bishop, the way this position works, like the way the general ideas that come out from playing this position don't support moving this direction. So putting your bishop here is not really where you want to go. You are kind of misplacing your bishop. That's one. And number two, you're making it difficult for your knight to move. I mean, you could play g6, bishop comes back, and then the knight comes in. But notice that that's like 3 moves. Right? Thanks for doing these streams. You deserve a subscriber. Thanks. I do appreciate it. So yeah, there are pros and cons of every move. You just have to take them. I don't think every move has just a pro. And you can also do d3, bishop b5 with checks and all kinds of. Wait, what? Wait. Oh boy, you have to give me a line. Sorry, I'm missing so many things. So c6 can be better. c6 is a very good idea in stopping this knight from coming in. I think when you play the Kolizuka thought, what you're trying to stop is the knight from coming in here. That is especially when your bishop is on d6. But when the bishop is not on d6, knight coming in here is not that big of a deal. Oh, okay. You are reconvening the line. Yeah, so c6 can be. We will do c6. That's the semi-Slav line. So that might be next, because I don't actually stream this long, but that might be next. Yeah. Look at ideas of c5. Yeah, again, that's what I'm saying. It depends on the idea you are going for. Traditionally, let's do it this way, so that we understand what we are talking about. I mean, I'm making moves here. I think it's like this. I don't know if it's the correct move, or that forgive me. I'm trying to make this. Trying to make this work. So let's look at
this is where the whole issue is coming from, guys. This is where the whole issue is coming from, especially from between me and Sage Crazy, where Sage Crazy and I kind of like, we are trying to, Sage Crazy and I are kind of trying to play the idea as white, which is not always the good idea because you are behind the tempo. But this is the point here. So it's plausible to go for, sorry, I don't know if I even played it. It's plausible to go for c4. It's plausible to go for c4, but it's not always the idea you want to go for. Traditionally, I'm not saying c4 is a bad idea. Traditionally, the idea you want to go for in the Koli Zukatwat is for like a stone wall structure with knight here. Let's just make it here, and with ideas of g4, g5. We can't control everything, yeah. D3, f3, center. I mean, the bishop chills on f6. We might play c5 and try to attack. Wait. What I thought you were saying is that we wouldn't want the. Wouldn't the bishop then be better on Wouldn't the bishop then be better on e7 to support c5? Or you prefer the knight is the one that deals with that? I mean, after the bishop chills on, we might play c5. We could, but like what my argument here is, ideally when you look at the way this position is played, you often want to go here. Not to say that going for a queenside assault is not. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, b6 is supporting the pawn push, true. Yeah. So we are agreeing on the fact that we want to, sorry, let's go. So what are we agreeing on? We are agreeing on what was the line? No, it was when the bishop comes in. Where's the bishop line? No, not here. Was it queen c2? Queen c2? No, it wasn't queen c2. It was bishop. Whoa, what line was it? Knight f3. Knight f3. Bishop e7. Not here. Queen c2. Wait. Yeah, queen c2. Knight jumps in. Bishop comes in this way. Knight here takes, and then you are saying that we can play c5. Am I correct? I'm sure the move order is wrong, but this is what we are talking about. Oh no, I can't play bishop to f 6. I'm just trying to play true to the position. So I think this is the line. That's the correct move order. Okay. Yeah, and the idea is to go c5 here. But then what if our opponent trades? Can we still say we want to go for this idea? Of course, not now, but I'm saying that's the idea we are aiming. But actually, trades now just loses a pawn. Let me turn off this. I'm lagging. Trades now just loses this. We have to reconsider the move order. Okay. So since since we are trading here, we can simply go this way. Okay, let's redo the move order, and then takes here, right? That way this makes sense. I think this is better. Yeah, this is considered better. Sorry. Yeah, knight bd7 doesn't work. Yeah, so I think this is better. I keep looking at just our position. White is kind of struggling. Right? Because Oh wait, we can't do that yet. I was thinking that after this we just take, yeah. This is not good. The light squared bishop. Shakimati, I think this is the second time. This is where you said D3. We have difference of opinions. I like this. We can discuss everything. This your bishop is bad. You want it on D6. E6 or D6? E6. Here. The light squared bishop. It's completely fine here. It's completely fine here. It's going to be harder to free this bishop simply because it's locked here. But this is completely fine. There's nothing wrong with this. You want it on E6 before you play C5. I might have to decide. You also should go H6 before B6. Also, you should go H6 before B6. Yeah, we looked at that line, Shaki. I don't know if you just joined Shaki, but we mentioned it. We mentioned that we would want to go this way, but it feels slow. So that was like earlier. Like, wanted to even play this first. But we're like, we are trying to play against this line, right? We want to play against this line in particular. So we decided I would play this move first, giving our opponent the chance to either play E6 or to move the bishop here, right? Here we can even play now because the bishop blocks. But then if our opponent, for example, played this, then we will jump in here. So that if he comes in here, he's wasting his time. So that's kind of like, it's a whole line we're looking at. It's a common idea, okay. Yeah, you think the bishop is better on D7? This bishop? Bro, what? This is crazy. Why would the bishop be better on D7? You just transpose anyway. Oh, okay, so we are abandoning this idea. We are abandoning the structure and moving for a different idea. Isn't that risky? I mean, it's still in the opening stages and not much is happening, especially on white's end. So I can agree, but I don't know, like, to do that. Yeah, we all feel so confused right now. Okay, let's delete everything and get to the main point of what we are trying to do here. Not every line in particular. We'll delete every variation. Let's clear everything. We are calculating too many things. And let's take it one at a time. Okay, we won't take everything one at a time. So we want to play B6. You don't like B6 anymore. That's the point. That's the point. No, the main issue is that we are behind. We are behind the move as black. And that's where the issue is coming from. So we are saying that here we are going to play bishop to D7. Our opponent has a myriad of options, but let's say he plays queen c. Actually, they are more likely to play this first, in which case we play knight, right? So we should play b6. Where's b6? Sorry. Yeah, b6. Sorry. Our opponent is more likely to play this. We play this, maybe e6 here, and then, so wait, this is where we got to. Wait. So b6, bishop comes in, knight comes in. If he comes in this way, we have this move. So wait. Oh boy, I'm missing the line. b6. The most likely move I think our opponent is going to play is this. Sorry, knight f3. Sorry. Knight f3 is the move we're looking at. Knight f3. There are so many things to look at. Knight f3. Then we said we'd play bishop here. If our opponent plays this move, fine. But we looked at queen e2, which is very unlikely. But knight here, and then our opponent plays this move. This is where we are. Exum, someone, we all agree on that. We completely agree on that. We are just trying to say which line are we taking? Which direction are we going? We are not trying to play the best moves per se. We want to have a line we are playing and ideas we are playing. That's all we are looking at here. We're not trying to make the most rock solid opening that existed. Switching up to Caro-Kann. No Caro-Kanns here. Tatakawa. Okay, so this way. If you go knight f6, bishop e7, h6, b6, you get the same line, true, but a better version. Light squares are weak and you would play for that change. Light squares are weak for who? Light squares are weak for who? Bro. Yeah, so yeah, I agree that we can just simply play this line. Okay, and I mean, we could try and force the line that what's his name? Is it Exum? Was it Exum who? Or it was Shaki? Yeah, we could also play this line, right? Sorry, h6 here doesn't work. Sorry. So we go bishop first. Let's see our opponent play this, and then we can try and force this line to get this idea that he was talking about, which I think is also decent. So there's one. h6 here is not it. Let's promote this. Oh, h6 isn't bad. I just don't. I feel like it's too slow. So Exum, I played against the Queen's Gambit declined, and oftentimes, the whole issue here is I want to find something to play against the Queen's Gambit decline, because whenever I'm playing against the Queen's Gambit decline, I play blind, and oftentimes the line that I actually know is this, but you don't often get this line. So we're trying to look for a line that I can play. And of course, there's this line that we're talking about that Magnus Carlsen often plays, where if his opponent plays knight f3 here, he goes h6. That way, after the bishop comes in here, then you just simply go knight, which I do play sometimes. But I'm trying to avoid this whole idea. You don't like bishop? Everybody hates bishop b7 now, but that's the whole idea. Come on. If we are abandoning bishop to b7, then we have to abandon where are we? If we are abandoning bishop to b7, then we are abandoning this move altogether. We are abandoning this move because then this becomes just a wasted move. Next stream, could I do an endgame if possible? Sure. I think the last two steady streams we did, I looked at the endgame. Okay, let's talk in theories. Bishop b7 is passive. I don't think it's passive. I think it has a long term. So, okay. So that's what you meant earlier by we should transpose into it. But I don't think it's passive. I disagree that it's passive. And besides, we can even go with that same idea. If we're even talking about transpositions here, we can even go with that same idea of let's say here. If our opponent plays this, we can still get the position I've been talking about, and this is even slightly better, right? You went there for the endgame. Don't worry, we'll be doing different. You agree that it's too early. You want to be flexible. Okay. So how would you recommend we go about this? So let's go back. So knight c3. Do we go for this or we play something else? What about the hedgehog against the Queen's Gambit? I don't know if that would work. I really don't know. Like, in as much, yes, I feel like it might be much more dangerous. I mean, the hedgehog is basically, I'm taking all your pressure, waiting for you to mess up, and then I'm going to counter jab you. Fine. But that's just, I don't know, keeping all your pawns on the 6th rank against the Queen's Gambit declined. Yeah, but with the B6 move, it's easier to counteract these pawn structures as compared to a hedgehog structure where the pawns are not necessarily or are they supported? Maybe they are. Yeah, all the pawns are on the 6th rank, but you don't have a C pawn in the hedgehog. Wait, am I correct? Yeah, the pawn breaks out. No. Knight F6, Bishop E7. Okay. So let's say here. H6. Let's say our opponent comes in here. So is this what we are looking at? But then we'd have to play h6 first to avoid the whole complication of this. So we can play h6 here, knight f3, then we play here, bishop f4. Yeah, they're all fine. They're all fine. h6 in the line with bishop g5. Or sorry, we play this, knight jumps in, knight comes in here, bishop here. No, I don't want the bishop on f4. I just think that it would not make sense for my opponent to play bishop to g5 when I don't have a knight there. So the point is, your opponent would have to develop, and eventually it's going to get to a point in time they have to move the bishop, right? And if I'm not giving you a reason to develop your bishop here, you would have to develop here. It's a forcing idea. You get it? Right? If I just, for example, played knight here, this is straightforward what my opponent is going to do, right? But if I play bishop here first, then you play knight here, and let's say even I play this move, for example, you can't put your bishop here. You would have to eventually succumb to playing this. I'm not scared of it. I just don't want to play h6. I don't want to play h6. That's the point. Black. Why is this an improvement? If your opponent now tries to go for this, it's not that good because now you have this. And we can even go for those extra lines that was. I feel like it's a wasted move for white if that comes to that. Right? That's what I feel like. I don't think it's an improvement. It's basically, I would prefer that. But right now we are looking at what you guys are recommending, because I think the general consensus is that this move being played too early doesn't work. We have to transpose into it. I mean, we can definitely do this and we'll still get the same position, but the point is now our opponent can become like more active. I thought we were building this whole idea towards playing c5. I prefer a worse version of the same line. Hey, no problem. Thanks, Divaka, for coming. I'll be streaming on Friday. If you want to play. So how do you recommend we play it, Shaki? Can you type? Always. Can you type out how you expect us to play? Like what you think is better. Because I felt like we can just play traditionally with the whole b6, right? Except ideally you'd want to get a bishop here for sure, but because the knight exists, you might have to play h6 first, right? Which can allow, for example, bishop here, and you also don't want that. But you could also just say, okay, to hell with it, takes, and then the position continues as normal. I think this is also fine. Yeah, c5 is the idea. I thought that was the idea. My head, guys, my head. this is why you sometimes hate chess. I don't remember our main line, so you'd have to, let me just Google it. Tatakawa. Okay. D4, D5. I think. E6. E6. Knight C3, Knight S6. Knight C3. Bishop E7. Bishop E7, Knight H6. Oh, H6. Bishop H4. Oh yeah, Bishop H4. Okay. Bishop H4. Castles E6B. Castles E6. Oh, okay. I think I now get your point. I think I now get your point. Yeah, I think I now get your point. Yeah. I wasn't getting it. Now I get your point. Why you are saying we should play B6 earlier? Sorry, later than earlier. So do we stick with this line? I mean, the study is for all of us, so I'll be leaving it if you ever want to go back. But yeah, do we stick with this line or do we still try and force B6 early on? Yeah, fairly high rated without studying Europeans. I mean, you can't get high rated. You can, sorry, I mean, get high rated without studying Europeans. Studying chess is this hard. I mean, when you are getting opinions, if it was just me, I wouldn't be disagreeing so much. I would just simply pick. You know, that's sometimes why you have a coach, and you can express yourself, and then they can also tell you like this is what happens. But it's like a group study, so our different personalities are crashing over the board, and that's what's happening here, right? Because I prefer like a positional game, not aggressive. So I'm okay with slow playing the position. Some are more into active chess. Some are more, so it's different personalities that are clashing over the board. But what I do think is that with some of the suggestions and the ideas that are being discussed, personality there's a word I'm trying to remember. Taking personality out of the picture, I think these are good considerations concerning move order and all that kind of stuff, right? I don't know if you get it. But that's why group studies are also important, because you see so many things. Like, I actually didn't even know that Tazakawa had B6. I actually didn't know that. But I was thinking about B6 instantly. I mean, there are many ways you can do it. But if that's like, I can't pick this, I have to call him after. Well, study wins the race, for sure. So there's so many lines we have to look at. Oh boy. But I usually stream for an hour and a half. This has been very long. So guys, also getting a call, I have to call. Thank you guys so much for being with me. Friday, I will be playing viewers, so if you are interested in that, you can always drop by Friday 10 a.m. GMT. These days I'm streaming 10:30. I'm streaming 10:30 because I often realize that people come in from 11 thereabout, so 10:30 setting. I thank you all those who subscribed, all those who followed. Someone, Shaki, Scary, Crazy. I can't remember your name. I always remember the S and I remember the ZY, and I'm like something. Scary, Crazy, Sage Crazy, Divaka, everyone who I can't find all the names. That's a lot. Everyone who dropped in. Flavio, Sicilian Ninja, all of you who dropped by to join in the discussion. That's with Sai. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate your presence here. Yeah, we're playing on Lichess. But of course, if you play on chess.com, there's also a link for the chess.com. Enjoy jamming with me. Yeah, but as you can see, my brain is dead. At this point, I'm just tired. My brain can't take it. Okay, guys, I'll see you. There's a video that has dropped on the YouTube.